Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Book Week Part 1 at MagicReview.com. Today we've got the definitive guide to restaurant magic by Wayne Goodman. So whenever you say something like the definitive guide, it better be pretty darn definitive. And this one is. It's pretty darn close. There's a couple issues I had I'll mention to you, but I gave it 4 stars, stone status of gem. I keep bouncing back and forth in my head between 4.5 and 4 stars. By the end of this review, I'll have made a final decision. But let me tell you where my issue is at. One, this is part of it, but it's a small part. There are no page numbers on this book. This is the second book I've reviewed this week that have no page numbers. And when you're dealing with a reference book like this, where, I mean, this thing covers everything about restaurant magic for the most part. And if you wanted to go back and say, look at the section on how to deal with the restaurant manager or whatever, well, how do you find it? You have to turn through every page and flip through it, and there's no index, no table of contents, no page numbers, nothing. And that's just very, very frustrating. And I found myself, there's a couple things I wanted to go back and look at again, and I couldn't find them. I still haven't found them because there's no way to find stuff in here. So that's frustrating. So that did take a little bit of a hit because of that. But let me just tell you this. This thing, I mean, it does. It covers approaching the table. It covers dealing with the restaurant staff. It covers tips. It covers, and by tips I mean taking money from the patrons as a tip. It covers how to get the gig, how to keep the gig, how to promote yourself, how marketing, public relations, how to manage your relationship with the owners and the managers of the restaurant, all this stuff. The one thing that I felt it was lacking in, by the way, I mean, it has marketing stuff about your business cards, little postcards and stuff to use, stuff about some stories about some of the gigs he did, that how they've lasted him for so long and why, and just all kinds of stuff. And clearly, this comes from actual experience. No doubt about that in my mind. Sometimes you get books like this where they claim to have the experience or expertise and they don't. This guy clearly does, Wayne Goodman. He performs in the UK, and I'm in the United States, and so there were a couple things where I think that just the things are a little bit different between here and there, but not anything serious. That this would be still totally awesome and fine for American magicians, and I would assume in other parts of the world too. He covers things like risk assessment and contracts and just all kinds of stuff. But the one thing that I felt he missed the boat on a little bit was he doesn't really talk about what kind of effects he does. He basically says these are the effects, and he gives the title and the name of the person who owns the effect. So he does To the Max by Matthew Ramsell. I'm sorry. No, I apologize. That is Matthew Ramsell. I guess this was, yeah. I think this is where he asked people what they did in restaurants. I apologize. And so Matthew Ramsell does a trick called To the Max. I have no idea what that is. I don't know if it's a card trick, coin trick, rope trick. I have no idea. And so he's got several other things like that in here where he lists. Here he has Stephen Lethwaite's effects that he does, and he does The Box by Mark Southworth, which I think I have that for review. He's got Look Sharp by Wayne Goodman. I don't know what those tricks are, and so by reading this book, I don't really have a sense of what kind of trick. I'm not asking him to tip the method or anything like that, but I felt that you could have better explained what is this trick and why does it fit in restaurants. Maybe he would talk about the reset or what the effect is or how it gets people involved or whatever, but it was just basically, here's a bullet point list of names of tricks that I do or that my other friends do in restaurants or whatever. So I felt he kind of missed the mark on that, and that to me is kind of a big deal. I mean, so that right there, I've decided 4 stars, not 4.5, because if you're going to read a book that's called The Definitive Guide to Restaurant Magic, that's however many pages, I don't know because it's not numbered and I'm not going to count them. But if you're going to read a book that's called Definitive Guide to Restaurant Magic, you can talk all day long about how to get the gig and how to keep the gig and how to market yourself and all that. Excuse me. But if you don't talk about what tricks to do and why, then you're out. I mean, you have no show to do. Yeah, I got a restaurant gig. I start in a week, but I don't know what kind of tricks I should do. Now, granted, there are plenty of people out there that are going to read this book that are already, somewhat pros, and they kind of know what material they want to do. But he doesn't really go into a lot of depth in that, so I felt that he kind of missed the mark on that. But other than that, I mean, everything about the business side of this and about keeping the gig and about all that stuff and approaching the tables, that is all in here. So, that's why I say it's almost a definitive guide. 4 stars, Stones to Ask the Gym. The book's $30, which isn't a bad price for the kind of information you're getting there. So that's it for that. Let's check out the random iTunes song of the moment. 2 Iron Maiden songs this week. Flight of Icarus. This is a great tune, man. That's off the Peace of Mind album. That's a really, really, really good album. It's got a lot of great tunes on it. If You're Gonna Die, Down with Your Boots On. It's got the Trooper on it. I think that's on there. Anyway, really good album. I just mentioned this in the video before, that I have more Metallica than anything on my playlist, but I hardly ever get any Metallicas. The Iron Maiden's number 3 on my playlist as far as how many I have, and I get that quite a bit, so it's just funny I don't get a lot of Metallicas. Not sure what that is all about. Anyway, that's it for this video. In fact, that is it. That's my last video of the week for Book Week Part 1. This may not be the last video physically of the week, but it's the last one I'm filming. I don't know what order I'm going to put these in yet. So that's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next review. Peace and out.